and welcome to Behind the Hype with me, your host, as always, Brian Dressel. With me, as always, is Chewie Darso.
Hello.
And Jonathan Hardesty.
Yo.
Week 2 of Dede Allen month. We're moving right along. Pretty good clip.
Yeah.
Right?
Moving right along.
Moving ever so quickly along. This week, we're doing yet another movie that's about a criminal who we all decide that we kind of like and side with. And
charismatic young man.
Charismatic young guy.
Who did it for the girl.
Did it for the girl.
Kind of.
The girls?
Yeah.
There are 2 women involved.
And did he really do it for either of them? I don't know.
I have no idea.
It's kind of muddy.
It's a little muddy. But yeah, it's another criminal lighten thing. This will be the end of our criminal movies for, kind of the end of our criminal movies for Dede. I didn't realize how similar the first 2 movies were until we were about halfway through Dog Day Afternoon. I'm like,
Yeah,
Oops.
no. I watched this and I was like, hold on. This, like, deja vu? Didn't I just see?
A little bit.
Wasn't I just feeling this level of stress?
In this one, the kind of duncy driver goes, "Now I'm out."
Yeah. Fuck this.
Really early on.
He was right.
Yeah.
So before we dive too far into the movie, Chewie and I yet again did not have any time for a where have they been doing. John, did you have time? I know you really wanted to get to one of them.
Yes, I did. And funny enough, I watched one that is also very similar to this movie.
Okay.
Yeah. I watched a movie called The Missouri Breaks,
Ooh.
which after looking through her filmography, I was like, let's just go to the posters and decide. And this poster had Jack Nicholson on it and Marlon Brando. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm doing this one. And yeah, it's essentially a story about cattle rustlers or horse rustlers, horse thieves, of which Jack Nicholson is one. They antagonize a guy, a baron in Montana, and he hires Marlon Brando, this regulator, to go and kill them all. And so it's this kind of slow-moving cat and mouse game as a really goofy, wacky Marlon Brando tries to take down Jack Nicholson.
I now need to see this movie. Goofy and wacky Marlon Brando is not something I don't think I've ever seen that.
Just to give you an idea of what's going, like just the type of thing to expect. He's playing an Irish American regulator, so he's got a really over exaggerated Irish accent.
Oh boy.
His weapon is like a throwing star thing.
Crawl.
And he's a sharpshooter. He also dresses up as a pilgrim maid as he shoots one of the guys, and his entrance in the movie involves him riding on the side of a horse, hidden from view from the person he's introducing himself to, and he kind of pokes out from underneath the horse to go like, "Hi." It is so tonally weird, but as we'll go to with this actual movie we're talking about today, Dog Day Afternoon, there are moments of that Dede Allen kind of strange, quick cuts of emotion and violence, preceded by a lot of just slower moving, tension building things.
Sure.
It was interesting. The only thing to note though is that she wasn't the only editor on this. So when you watch it, you can kind of tell where her hand was heaviest, because the editing was, as we've seen before in Bonnie and Clyde, and as we'll talk about in Dog Day Afternoon, very strong and purposeful, but there's also a lot of lag in there too. So I made it sound a little bit more exciting than it is. And I forgot to even mention Randy Quaid's also in this as a younger guy, a younger rustler. Yeah, it's... And
what is this movie? What is this called?
Jack Nicholson, Marlon Brando, and Randy Quaid.
Yeah, but what is this called again?
The Missouri Breaks. Who else? Oh, Harry Dean Stanton's in it. Yeah, why not? It's a who's who of people, and the movie was a bomb in the theater. It's like, it didn't work well. It didn't play well.
So, can we watch this and Heaven's Gate together?
No.
Oh, come on.
I'd much rather watch this one than Heaven's Gate. I'm not watching Heaven's Gate.
I want to watch Heaven's Gate.
I'm not doing it. It's too long. It sounds awful.
I know.
It's 3 days long. I'm not watching it.
You had me watch one of those.
I thought you were enjoying it. It wasn't until the movie ended you're like, that was awful. I'm like,
I didn't say it was awful. I said, it's not really for me. Hashtag The Irishman.
Hey, I like that movie.
So yeah, the Missouri Breaks. If you're curious at all, it's definitely worth it for the experience of it and just seeing a very strange Marlon Brando performance.
I mean, that's the same reason I always recommend. What's the name of that movie with Russell Crowe that we watched?
With Marlon Brando?
No, with Russell Crowe.
Which one?
The one with the green suit, and he plays a Looney Tunes character.
Oh, Virtuosity.
Virtuosity. Yeah. It's the same reason I always recommend people watch that one, because it's like, what the fuck is this Russell Crowe performance? It's a must-watch. And I was very begrudgingly enjoying it the whole time. But as I got farther and farther away from it, I love that movie.
You're like, shoot, I actually enjoy this.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Damn it. It was pretty entertaining. Stupid movie. Russell Crowe eating glass to heal himself. Real stupid movie.
Can we rewatch that movie?
Yeah, at some point, sure, why not?
It's amazing.
I'm sure we're going to do a Russell Crowe month at some point. We kind of have to.
I love that movie.
Oh my god, we should do 2 Russell Crowe months. Like, Russell Crowe month, and then we'll have Sam phone in and do Fat Russell Crowe month.
Hey.
And Sam will be so happy.
No, I never like calling him Fat Russell Crowe. He's just normal person Russell Crowe.
It's just
Let's
so
call
much
him
fun to
comfortable.
call him Fat Russell Crowe. Because he's clearly
Comfortable
not
Russell
fat.
Crowe.
He's
Comfortable
Hollywood
Russell.
fat. Yeah, comfortable Russell Crowe is actually a little bit better.
Russell Crowe might be happy.
Russell Crowe the day after Thanksgiving with his turkey belly.
Yeah, sweatpants Russell Crowe, you know?
Sweatpants Russell Crowe sounds like we're going the wrong direction. Oh boy. Okay, so let's talk about this afternoon. This dog day afternoon. It's a real
Dogs are barking.
Oh, his dogs are barking.
Someone needs to turn on the air conditioning.
Lots of pacing in front of a bank,
Yeah.
screaming about a jail.
Attica, Gattaca, Gattaca.
And you're killing me. You're killing me.
You're killing me, Smalls. Sorry, wrong movie. Oh boy.
Dude, if I had a husband that kept saying I'm dying constantly every time we fight, too, I'd yell at him.
Oh, I'm
don't say
dying
that.
here. I'm dying here.
I mean,
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
No, all I'd have to do is point it out that you say it, and you'd stop doing it. Like
Yeah.
how you used to say, "Let's put a pin in it." I pointed that out to you, and then you stopped saying it.
Did I say that?
You said, "Yeah,
Let's put a pen in it?
yeah."
I thought it was a different one. Twist my arm, why don't you?
Oh yeah, it was
twist my arm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
used to say that all the time.
I don't really ever say twist my arm
you
anymore.
stopped, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like part of me died.
Yeah, we
well,
lost a part of Brian that day.
Isn't that what everyone says? I'm supposed to kill you a little bit every day.
Yikes.
It's the tiny deaths.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be Corona that's killing us every day, but no, it's just Chewie.
It's wives.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's dive into this. I did the last one. Whose turn is it to say what happens in this movie? Chewie, why don't you do it? You look like you're just rearing to say everything that happens in this movie as quickly as possible.
All right, so you got some dudes.
Yep.
They walk into a bank, and they decide, we're going to rob this bank. And one of them goes, nah, and skedaddles. He's the hero of the movie. Because he got bad vibes. That guy was...
He was right.
He felt that mojo and went, no Joe.
Of course.
So, Al Pacino needs to stick it out, and Meryl Streep's ex-fiancé also sticks it out. And he just kind of looks sad the whole movie. Like, he's ready to kill people because he thinks he should. Sal's not really a very defined character. Yeah, they really don't do much with Sal.
No, it's the Sunny Show for sure.
Yeah. So Sonny is over his head, but he handles it really well. Because it turns out there really isn't any money in the bank. They said the money was picked up early in the afternoon. And I'm like, who picks up money from a bank? People bring money to a bank, so I'm confused by this. But I'm not a banker.
It kind of makes sense, right?
I don't know where it goes. To a bigger bank?
It's like Gringotts.
Probably.
It just disappears into an underground vault guarded by a dragon. Like,
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I don't get it. Whatever.
Poor tortured dragon who can't see sunlight.
But either way, he doesn't really get as much money as he wanted. And then when he thinks he's about to leave, turns out the cops are there. Womp womp. And then it's a big standoff, and it ends up in the thing where a criminal thinks he's going to get on a plane and get away scot-free. And I ask the world, when did that work?
It had to have worked one time, right?
Or
Like one
is it
time.
Or is it just a movie thing? where they like to make it seem like it might work.
Or is it like it wasn't a movie thing, they put it in movies, and now it's a real thing?
I've never heard of it happening in real life.
I guess it's fair.
I've also never researched it.
Neither have I. I always kind of forget about it, like 10 seconds after we see that situation. So
Yeah, but it doesn't work out. End of the story.
Sal gets shot right in the face.
in the head because he's not a divine character. You really don't feel that bad when he dies.
I felt a little bad.
I felt a little bad, I guess, but no. At the same time, and Sonny feels bad, but also doesn't look like he feels that bad. He looks more disappointed.
He looked more shell-shocked to me.
Yeah.
Like, that looked like I was going to die. I'm not dead.
Oh, I took it more of I thought I had it handled. I thought I was in control.
We'll talk about it, because I have a very different take on this movie than that. We'll get to that after we get done talking about Dede.
Yeah. Okay. That's the movie.
Yeah, that actually is the movie. Well done. So let's dive in first into the editor. I feel like there's some quality editing here that we should talk about. So first and foremost, though, before we dive straight into Dede, I will mention that this is a Sidney Lumet movie, and Sidney Lumet definitely has his own.
Sidney Lumet.
Is it Lumet? I always thought it was Lumet. I'm very American. I'm going to keep calling him Lumet.
I don't know.
We're doing another one of
Sidney
his
Lumet.
movies next week. Also edited by Dede Allen. I guess they were pals.
They're best buds.
But there is something to be said about because obviously the director for Bonnie and Clyde, whose name I forget right now, is also a very accomplished director, a very good director. This is the same case. So there is something to be said about having a very strong director with a very singular vision, sometimes overpowering the vision of an editor. And watching these two movies, not back to back, but very close, you really get to see her style in specific scenes, which I thought was really cool because these are two very, very different, strong-willed directors. And then the similarities between the two movies I thought were just really kind of fascinating. But before I dive into mine, did you guys notice any?
Well, yeah. It's all about a tumultuous time in America where people weren't feeling very good. There was a recession. There's a big oil crisis. Post-Vietnam, people were angry, just like the Depression.
Yeah. I meant more in the style of editing than just
Oh,
the similarities of the movies.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no, I did notice it because I watched them pretty close together, like actually one day, like a day after the other. And what struck me the most was just how it starts with you knowing where it's going to go. Like you know what's going to happen. And it kind of teases like this is a bad news. You know, you've got in Dog Day Afternoon, the guy like the other criminal being like, no, I'm peacing out. And you're like, this isn't going to go well. And same with Bonnie and Clyde. You're like, yeah, you guys, like, it didn't turn out well. So then you've kind of got this building tension as you know roughly where it's going to go, but the movie stays steady until like an explosive end. Like it felt very paced similarly to where I was like I joked earlier, like this is deja vu, but no, they felt of the same pace. Like I was watching two movies, cut the same way, even though they weren't.
Yeah, no, like there is definitely her pacing is very clear. And the way that she cuts scenes together is very similar between the two. Like, she really knows when to hold on certain people versus others. Because obviously, like if you know anything about film, there's a lot of coverage that happens. Like, and especially in a movie like this, there's so many people. We're going to get shots of everyone, and you need to know who to focus on. And one of her strong suits is knowing who to focus on in these very long scenes. And since this entire movie takes place primarily in one location, it was between this movie or Breakfast Club, because I want to do one of her movies that takes place in one spot. We chose this one because it got her first Academy Award nomination. Hooray! There's something to be really interesting about specifically the phone calls is what I thought were like the most interesting parts. Both with Moretti, the police officer, the hostage negotiator guy, and then later on with his two wives and those are only two people he called, right? Just the wife and
he never called
the wife
his
and the baby
mom.
mama.
Yeah.
No, his mom talked to him outside, so.
Yeah.
But those phone calls were really interesting throughout the entire movie of who's talking when. Like, who's on camera when. And it was always really expertly done to kind of build tension of, like, who is more stressed. Whereas in, like, Bonnie and Clyde, it always felt like who's getting the information or who's going to be reacting to the information. It felt like that was the more important person on camera. Whereas this one, it always felt to me like who's closer to their breaking point was the one that we saw more often. So it was a lot of Al Pacino because he was the one who's very stressed and very in this situation. He's handling the situation to the best of his capabilities, which is better than you probably would have expected. But it's still, when he's starting to push Moretti's buttons and Moretti's starting to get stressed, then we stay with him a little bit longer. We ease off of Al Pacino. And that's kind of the theme throughout the entire movie. And the way that they're able to do that with these very long cuts. Like, it's not a very cutty film. It's like similar to Bonnie and Clyde in that regard, where it's only cutty when there's something like, oh my God, happening. For example, when the not as cutty as like the death of Bonnie and Clyde.
I don't feel like it was as cutty as Bonnie and Clyde at all. Like,
no, the scene that I thought was like the closest to that, and it's still way less intense, was when they were trying to get through the back door.
Oh.
That's when the cuts really started happening a lot faster, because they had to react fast. And when the cuts started speeding up, that's when the action started picking up. And it kind of made sense. It's just like, we have the guys rappelling down the window, we have him taking the shot out the window, we have the people in the front, we have the people in the back, we have him running around the bank, and it's just boom, 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 boom. But otherwise, it's pretty slow. Like, they let their shots sit. They let the conversations last. Like, that was also really a strong suit of Sidney Lumet, which is why I brought him up. Because there are a lot of those, especially towards the end of the film, when he's kind of, and this is where Chewie and I apparently disagree, I thought he's like, well, I fucked up. I'm going to take this thing as far as I can, but I'm pretty sure I lost. And it's him just going, I'm going to have this very long explanation of what I want done with my life insurance policy. I want to have these very long conversations with my wife. I want to have a very long conversation with the mother of my children. And it is these very long, drawn-out, very dark scenes that in a lesser film would be tremendously boring. Because the whole movie has been tense and high pressure and, oh my God, are they going to make it out of it? And then as things start slowing down towards the end, when most movies would be ramping up, is where it's like, well, the emotion is ramping up while the action is going down. And I think that takes a lot of strength from both the editor and the director to actually pull that off in a way that is still entertaining. Especially as we've been used to the more high action or high octane stress of the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because this... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
The most interesting conversation to me in this whole movie was the one between Sonny and Leon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was the only scene that had a long dolly shot where they had the whole thing. I think it was the whole thing. I don't think... Sonny might have been cut into a little bit, but when they're in the back of the barber shop,
oh yeah,
with Leon sitting against the wall, and in the shot we're moving past the chairs,
oh yeah,
to Leon while he's talking to Sonny, and there's not I can't think of any other part of the film where we have that type of movement, and it's just moving on to Leon while it's just a still close-up shot on Sonny during that conversation. And it's the only time where Leon doesn't have anyone around him. Like, he looks like he's alone. So in the way that that's edited, it feels very intimate between him and Sonny during that conversation. And then you have a moment of, I don't know if it's a moment of tension or a moment of comedy, depending on how you read it, when we realize that the cops have been listening the whole time to the conversation, and that it hasn't been a private conversation, though it feels very private while you're watching it. And I loved that moment, too, when they edit it, and Sonny says, okay, Leon, are they off the phone now? And Leon just kind of looks at them, and they're...
clearly not budging.
Clearly not budging. Yeah, it cuts to the FBI agent who just complete blank face, hasn't moved at all. And then it cuts back to Leon and he's like, yeah. Yeah, they're not on anymore. I'm like, it's tense, but also kind of funny.
I think the initial cut to wait, are they all on the phone? And they cut to just like 20 officers all listening
and
to the call.
You're like, oh no, Leon's not alone.
Yeah. No, this very intimate phone call has been very public.
So I thought, to me, that was one of my favorite parts in the movie.
Oh yeah,
the way it was edited, set up, and everything.
And I'd say that entire sequence is what got Leon his Academy Award nomination.
Yeah,
he's so good in that scene. Al Pacino's great throughout the whole movie. Definitely deserved his nom as well. But that sequence for Leon is just incredible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I even like how they crammed all those police officers in one frame too, just to go opposite of what, like, as you were saying, Chewie, like, it was so intimate and just those two, and then you've crammed everyone else into the frame in a different cut. It's just like, there's so many strong decisions going on in this scene.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's done so impeccably well. And that's not like that's one great scene in a movie that is just chock full of great scenes. Like I think for me, if I wasn't gonna pick that one, just for like the way it's edited and the way that it's done, as I love him going through the I guess it's a limousine. It's a 70s limousine.
No, it's a shuttle.
It's a shuttle.
It's an airport shuttle.
They keep calling it a limousine.
Yeah, I don't know why.
What terminal? It's forever ago. So
it's a horrible
whatever.
limousine if it is one.
Yeah. So whatever the vehicle is that takes them from the bank to the airport, I love him going through that with the undercover cop, and it's just one of those things. The second the guy shows up, like, even when I was a kid, I was a kid. I was in high school when I saw it the first time. I'm like, cop.
Yeah, I think it's some random schmo didn't right.
It just didn't feel right, and I just love the whole time he's talking to him, and the guy's like trying to play him a little bit, and it's just done so like almost casual that it's just kind of like it's a great way to try to keep you off your guard, and it does such a good job of it with Al Pacino. Of like Al Pacino doesn't let on that he knows it's a cop until the very end.
But little does he know, he ends up with an android named Bishop.
Oh
but
my God,
it's completely different.
He made the wrong choice. Weyland Yutani said that Sal had to die, and Bishop listens to Weyland Yutani.
I still think of him as Bishop. I know it's just an android of the other guy, but whatever. Blah.
It's fine. He's Bishop.
Yeah.
I agree.
Thank you.
Could you make sure and point that gun up there? So you don't shoot me?
So let's just kind of... is there anything else editing-wise that we didn't really mention that we feel we need to mention for Dede on this one? I think she did another great job. I think that the pacing was excellent. I think she absolutely deserved her Academy Award nomination. Was there anything that we missed that you guys want to bring up?
No, we've pretty much touched on it. The fact that just... I don't know. It's weird for something that's just so drawn out and low action. I was freaking stressed the whole time. Like, I was at the edge of my seat. I didn't have a lot of seat to be at the edge of, but my God.
Yeah. I mean,
like those humorous moments. I needed that. I needed those. Like my favorite scene is just when it ends, when Sal gets shot in the head and everything just deflates. Like, because I needed that. It was like I need that final moment. Like the stress had been building so much.
I spent most of the movie going, this is based on a real true story. And I was looking at the Wikipedia and being like, this is based on a true story. Like, this happened. Nowadays, none of this would happen.
They would have shot him in a second.
Yeah.
In a second.
Yeah.
And the only reason they didn't was that Attica thing.
Because they felt bad.
They didn't feel bad. They had a PR problem. We can't keep gunning down innocent people.
But he wasn't innocent.
Well, no, but all the hostages inside that would have died after they killed him, when Sal started open firing, they would have taken the blame for.
Yeah.
So, sticky time. Sticky time. So just a little bit about the movie itself. Like, it is interesting that we did 2 true crime movies back to back. And luckily, we're doing a third one next week. Everyone knows the true crime of The Wiz.
I've never seen The Wiz, so I don't.
It's a joke. It's not a true crime movie at all, but I'm very excited for everyone to see it. If you haven't
the
seen
real
The Wiz,
crime is never having seen it before.
But yeah, I do like that we did 2 true crime movies back to back, and they're very different true crime movies. But this one, it's one of those movies that when I was a kid, like very, very young, my dad would make me, my dad would just randomly turn on TV, of course, and like in between basketball games and baseball games, because I'm very much a sports guy, he'd just turn on movies because we paid for the movie channels. This was one of the few movies that when it came on, he wouldn't flip back to the game. He would finish the movie. It's like this one, Butch Cassidy, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, a few other ones.
Your dad doesn't understand absurd humor yet. He liked Monty Python?
Loves Monty Python.
I don't get it.
Loves Monty Python.
He can't handle apple to apples.
No, Apples to Apples is a weird game to him.
Camelot is a silly place.
Either way, Dog Day Afternoon. Oh, Bridge Over River Kwai was another one.
I've also never seen that one.
It's a good movie. You would probably not like it very much.
Doesn't Ron Swanson watch that?
That's his favorite movie.
Yeah.
He and my dad have something in common. That's about it. But yeah, so there was always that scene. Like, it's a very, very famous scene. Most people who haven't even seen Dog Day Afternoon, even if you don't know where it came from, the scene of Al Pacino running up and down in front of the bank screaming Attica. Most people are at least aware of that in some form.
I became aware of it in The League.
Gattaca! Gattaca! I don't think he's even seen that movie. It's terrible. Which isn't, he's also wrong. I like Gattaca. I think Gattaca's a good movie. Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, it's a good movie.
Oh man, it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And I saw that episode of Bob's Burgers, which
Bob Day Afternoon.
I had no idea was about this movie.
Yep. It's called Bob Day Afternoon. They don't really hide it. But yeah, this movie just has a really big presence in pop culture, and yet I feel like the movie's kind of been forgotten a little bit. Like, especially like Al Pacino's repertoire, like everyone's like, oh yeah, I heard he was really good in that movie, but no one really saw it. Like, our generation really kind of let this one go.
I think a lot of bands in the mid-2000s saw it because they liked the hair.
They could have just like the hair from the 70s.
Oh no, Al Pacino's hair, specifically Al Pacino's hair, when he gets out of the just the car in the beginning of the movie. That's some coiffed style right there.
It looked good on him.
Yeah.
Al Pacino's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also says fuck better than anyone in the business, other than maybe Brendan Fraser. Watch Doom Patrol.
Yes.
But yeah, like there's just something that's kind of interesting about this movie, and I didn't know if you guys had the similar feeling. I don't know if either one of you had seen this movie before this, and it's like it's an interesting thing that this movie had such a monumentous impact on our culture, but I feel like nobody watches it.
Yeah, no, in college it was always Scarface. That was the Pacino one, right? And like, oh, that's the one. That's all the one any guy would talk about watching. As sort of like, badass. And then like with all the Rockstar games, that kind of solidified that in like at least pop culture as the main one to talk about. Because I had heard of this movie by name, but I've known no one who's talked about it at length. It hasn't really sat in my consciousness. But like I don't understand why, because this one is, to me, more powerful, stronger, and just like I've never been so stressed. Like it's to me, this is the stronger. This one is worth pervading the culture. You know.
Well, that just gets back to what is a man in pop culture? Is a man a lunatic who's raving about his
little friend?
His little friend, which could be a gun or it could be his penis. Or are we going to talk about a man who is in love with two different women, and it's complicated, and he has a lot of...
One of those is a transgender woman who's pre-op. So, like, that's a big deal in that time.
He's really confident, and he's in a pickle, and he needs to use his mind to get out of it.
Yeah.
Which one's easier for more people to grasp onto?
I mean...
The penis.
Yeah.
So, they're going to go
Always easier to grab a penis.
So, they're going to gravitate toward the machismo film.
But let's be honest, Scarface kind of sucks, right?
I've never seen Scarface. I really haven't had much interest.
It loses me very quickly.
Not a very good movie. This is a very good movie. But there is something to be said, like that, yeah, if you're looking for the machismo crowd, that the guys want to hang a poster on their wall, they're probably not going to hang the one of the guy who was trying to rob a bank to afford his wife's sex change operation into a woman.
Yeah, it's a little complex.
Yeah, there's a lot of weight here. And it is so interesting as the movie goes on. Like this movie's from 40, 50 years ago. Like, this is an older movie. And this movie was doing things that even now would get people like, well, I'm not watching that movie. It's full of... Ugh, it makes me uncomfortable. Yeah. And they don't shy away from it at all.
Now, everyone in the movie seems... There's one guy that makes a joke about him being a queer...
Oh, the cops have a problem. The cops make fun of him. But everyone else is just like, this is the situation we're in.
I mean, like, some of the, look like rookie cops make
the
fun
uniforms, like, none of the
but,
named
like,
ones.
The detectives and everyone's just like, no, this is serious. And we're not making fun of anyone.
Yeah, like, there's...
This is what is happening.
Like, there's the one moment where they say something, and one of the cops behind him, like, kind of snickers, and they're like, shut up. Like, this is not the time for this.
No.
And, it is kind of interesting, like, because I guarantee you, like, there's, as the movie goes on, like, as soon as he is outed, if you will, as being married to a man, whenever somebody comes up to the bank and that he has to frisk, he gets, woo! And it's like, that is the time.
Well, then they're just being high school.
Yeah, but then as the movie goes on, then you have like the LGBT people show up
Yeah.
as like supporting him, and you have other ones that hate him, and like you get this big swell of like the public outcry of like, do we love him or hate him or whatnot? And it's really interesting seeing how that all goes. And I just keep going back to like this movie was doing this way before now, when it's a very hot button issue now, and it should be okay now, and for some reason we still have problems with it. And this movie was addressing it forever ago.
My God. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I just got a spiral in my head about how I recently rewatched Airheads and how it's kind of a remake of this movie, but stupid.
Sure. Yeah, I could see it. Definitely the stupid part is right there.
But it's all about going into a place with guns and getting way over your head, and then suddenly a big crowd supporting you comes outside, and you go outside, and freaking Steve Buscemi, when he does a showboating thing, grabbing his penis at the crowd, and they all start cheering.
Does he yell Attica?
No.
That'd be really funny if he did.
Dickita.
But yeah, like, I think that's why another reason why, as we were watching it last night, it bothers me that this one's kind of left public consciousness beyond like, oh yeah, the movie where he yells Attica and wanted it, like, was nominated for an Academy Award.
Which, honestly, of all the things in this movie, now that I've seen the Attica scene, why?
I don't know.
It's so short.
Yeah.
There's so many more interesting parts of this movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, like the Attica
It's
scene
not like
feels
it's
like
the
such a
only
blip.
time he yells in this movie. He yells in this movie a lot.
Al Pacino's in the movie. He's gonna yell. That's kind of his shtick. And he yells very well.
He only says Attica, like, what, 3 times in that
That's more
rant?
than that. He says it a whole bunch. Because when they pull back to the helicopter shot and he's just running up and down, just Attica! Attica!
I feel in my brain it didn't last nearly as long as I thought it was going to.
No, it's a short scene.
Yeah.
It's a great scene. Because that's when he gets the crowd on his side.
But that scene is in competition with other really great scenes. So it's weird that, yeah, that's the one that we fixate on. Because every scene, he's just on all cylinders in this movie.
Oh, yeah. From the very beginning of the movie, from the very scene where I don't remember their buddy's name who backs out. But from the second he's like, Sonny, I can't do it. Like, you get so much character development from Al Pacino and just his reaction to that. Like, you get so much out of a character who's about to rob a bank, hold people up at gunpoint, have his guy be willing to kill for him, and he's like, well, my buddy's nervous, so let him out. Like, there's so much there, and it's just such a tiny little moment, but it's wonderful, and
Yeah,
he handles it so well.
It was the moment that cued me in on what this movie was going to be, really, because I knew nothing other than Attica about this. So then when we got there, he lets him out, and I'm
Knew more
like,
than
oh, this scene, like, this is what this movie's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, I'm in for a ride. Like, I buckled up.
Yeah, it's that, and then you get to the scene when they're finally gonna get out, and it's not Carol Kane, it's the I don't remember what her job was, but he's trying to put him in the safe, and he's like, all right, so you're gonna go in the safe, we're gonna leave, everyone's fine, and she's like, I can't be in here, I need to go to the bathroom, and he's like, but all right, who wants to go to the bathroom? Oh, now they all want to go to the bathroom.
Well,
I'm like,
yeah.
all right,
You mentioned bathroom, so now I need to pee.
Yeah, so all right, so let's everyone go to the bathroom, and it's like, this guy he's not a bad guy. He's definitely a bad guy, but he's not.
He's not a rapist.
Yeah. It's a weird bar. But like what I'm saying is like, yes, he's a bank robber. He definitely held these people up. He definitely scarred them for life. That said, he also tried to take care of them. He got them food when they were hungry. He made sure they had a bathroom to go to. He teach one of them how to do like his gun salute from being a nom. Like,
Yeah.
he was clearly out of his depth for sure. But he thought he was doing the right thing. He's the villain with a heart of gold. He had the right intentions. And Al Pacino plays that role so well in this movie. It's insane. Like, I know I like Al Pacino now. I've always liked Al Pacino. But, like, going back to his early roles is like, oh, this is why you're around. Like, this is why you're still here. You are a fucking legend for this stuff. Like, this and Godfather and, like, all of that. Like, he's just so good.
Yeah, I wish I'd seen this much earlier, because having only seen the very machismo end of it, I was just like, yeah, Al Pacino. And then with this movie, I'm like, oh, yeah, Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Definitely in italics, you know?
Yeah, because like the majority of his roles are far more in that other spectrum. You know, you have the machismo roles, like Jack and Jill when he fell in love with Adam Sandler.
Yes.
No one.
No, I didn't see that.
He
I
did
still don't remember. You saw it because of Tony.
I bought it for Tony as a joke, and he ended up kind of enjoying it.
Oy.
Say it with me now. Fuck Tony.
Aw.
10 people will get that joke. One of them won't be Tony, because I know he doesn't listen to this show.
No.
But there's something just kind of like cool about seeing Al Pacino in this more sensitive role, while still battling with like his inner demons to be that machismo role too.
But it's more of a mask that this guy's wearing to be the machine. I mean, he's got some anger issues.
He definitely has anger issues. I'm dying. He held a gun to his wife's head and said that like he was going to kill her. Like he did some shitty things.
And then that woman is just ranting about, that's not him. Blah, blah, that's not. I know that's not you. I'm like, are you sure?
I'm pretty sure it's him.
I feel like this woman doesn't really pay attention to things.
Yeah, this is another situation of like this guy got back from Nam and probably should have seen a therapist.
Yeah.
Like both him and Sal probably could have used a therapist.
I don't know what was wrong with Sal.
There was something wrong with him though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was very interesting too, just with his performance. You really got like, it really cued me in on the sense that like no one's listening to him. Like everyone who, like all the phone calls punctuate this. Like he's talking, but everyone's also trying to get their own word in. Like especially with the conversation with his wife, and then his mother.
Oh yeah.
And just as like those two scenes, the wife and the mother really just punctuates like listen to him. And like you guys said with the therapy, had someone listen to him, maybe this movie wouldn't have happened, right? But
or hopefully the real life event wouldn't have happened.
Right.
So that's kind of Al Pacino and everybody in it. What have we missed? Like we've been talking for a little while on this one. I think it's pretty clear we're all pretty big fans of it. The editing was great, acting was great, movie's great.
Yeah.
And more people our age should see it. Our age and younger, because I feel like the generations above us all saw it.
It's just hard to get people. It's almost like subtitles. You might as well put it in the same category. Here's a quiet character piece that takes place in one location, and subtitles.
Yeah. Yeah, because bank robbery movies like say Inside Man, which I'm a big fan of, way more intense now. But like more intense and somehow less intense. Swordfish,
way more intense.
But again, somehow less intense. Like the action is way more intense, but I don't really care what happens.
No.
It's hard to pitch. It's hard to pitch
Hugh
something
Jackman,
like
get
this.
that blowjob. Keep hacking, man.
Hack away. Oh. It's hard to pitch something like this where you're like there's little in the way of cuts. It's just it travels along at a normal, like a slower pace, but it's really exciting. It's like, yeah, you can't really reconcile that when you try to pitch it to someone like that.
Yeah.
But like with my earlier breakdown of Missouri Breaks, that's the same pacing, just slow, deliberate, very Red Dead Redemption, but slower. Like it's slow with wacky characters, but like those things are punctuated throughout. So it's
so
kind
Missouri
of hard
Breaks is the same as Red Dead Redemption?
Does not sound that what is.
No, in terms of like weird characters, kooky criminals, and like a criminal gang trying to move on from one thing to the other, there's elements in there that I was like, oh, this is kind of, I recognize some of these elements.
That definitely sounds more Red Dead Redemption 1 than 2.
Yeah, probably closer
2
to
kind
1.
of lost the kooky characters.
Yeah. But these movies, both the ones I saw, this one and Missouri Breaks, they're slow. But that's not a problem unless you're, unless you're pitching it to someone, because the editing here just really heightens. Everything is heightened. Every shot matters, and we want to stick with it. And it's a way of watching movies that we've kind of fallen out of with crime movies in general.
Yeah, and there's something to be said, and we keep using the word slow, and I feel like I want to back off the word slow. Like, it's not that it's slow, it's that it's willing to take its time.
Yeah.
It's just slow by our standards today.
It's slow by modern standards, for sure.
Yeah.
Like
it's just the idea of taking your time and just sitting with somebody in a movie now.
Yeah.
That's taxing for people.
Yeah. That's fair.
I have to care about you?
Oh, those are the movies I like.
I know.
Fuck, I'm old. Anyhow, I think it's time to move on to the end of this thing, which is our favorite sequence, if we will. We've already kind of mentioned
Yeah, I
a
already
few
talked
of them.
about my favorite sequence.
But we'll just rattle through them again. Yours was the phone call with Leon.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was him going through the car. But if it's not going to be the one of him going through the car, I'll just change it up just so I'm not repeating myself. I'm going to go for the sequence where the cops are not talking to Moretti and they try to go through the back door to try to stop the thing. And that whole sequence is just it's the only time where it actually feels like an action movie. I think it's really the only, other than when Sal gets shot in the face, it's really the only time there's a gunshot.
Yeah.
So that sequence is just intense and awesome. It just boom, 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 boom.
Oh, it's great. It's amazing. And for me, I mentioned earlier that like I really like my favorite scene is like the end when it all just kind of the steam is let out. But it's between that and for me the beginning. Like we said earlier, just how that beginning communicates so much of what this movie is going to be. It still leaves room for surprise and tension and all that. Like the bookends of this movie, I really, really liked it. Like I like how it began, and I really liked how it ended. And it's just very strong. Like you don't always get both ends of the movie being strong in this way and so punctuated and so memorable.
Oh man, the ending with him on the hood of the car getting handcuffed. You have that little moment with the FBI agent. He's like, "All right, get him up," and it's like that's all he says. But you can just see this, like, "All right, lay off." He knows he lost. He's done.
Yeah.
And it's like he almost took pity on him for a second. But it's just that moment, like, all right, we've won. We've won. It's over now.
Yeah, he just killed his friend.
Yeah.
I really don't understand why they had to kill Sal. I feel like there should have been
They
something.
really seemed to want to kill Sal.
Yeah, it was strange.
But he was the dangerous one. He was the one who's willing to kill people.
And, I mean, it's based on a true story, and that guy did die.
Yeah.
So... And when I read the Wikipedia, it says that the guy, the real Sonny, said, they only got about 30% of it right. So I'm like, what was another 70%? But we'll never know.
We'll never know. Okay, so I'm not sure if we did this last week, because I honestly don't remember last week, because time. But I really liked what we did with Joe Dante. And I'm going to keep that theme going for a little while now. I'll change it up when I feel like changing it up. Review Systems are going to be continuing down the double feature route.
Oh.
A pairing, if you will. If you have to watch this one and another movie, what's it going to be? And I can go first because I have a great one. And it's a modern film that I feel still holds to this sensibilities. I would watch this and Hateful Eight.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they both have criminals who are, obviously bad people. They get what they deserve, I guess. But it still is a movie that's absolutely willing to take its time.
Okay.
I think it'd be a good
I'm going
watch.
to go with Airheads, like I said earlier. But no, I remembered what they did now to be like Attica. Rodney King! Rodney King!
Holy shit, you're
Rodney
right.
Oh my
King.
God, you're right. Oh my God.
It's a remake, man! It's a remake!
How did Airheads get brought into this? I didn't realize till you were watching Airheads. I forgot how much I don't like Airheads.
Oh wow.
I remember watching it going, why are they chanting Rodney King?
Attica.
Yes.
Attica. That's entirely what it was.
Yep.
My mind is blown right now. John, top that.
Yeah, I can't. So I won't. But even though I could say do this in Missouri Breaks because they pair well together, I'm going to go a little bit slightly off based off of how we did it with Bonnie and Clyde. I think watch Band of Outsiders from Jean-Luc Godard with this because that movie is all about criminals being like who fail to criminal. And this is also a criminal who fails to criminal. But there's so much in between that's interesting to see and look at and think about. And there's like, because of the French New Wave, there's some of that editing stuff that really inspired Dede Allen. I think you watch both of these and you have a very interesting double feature.
Sure. Every time you say Jean-Luc Godard, all I think is Captain Jean-Luc Picard, USS Enterprise. I don't even like Star Trek, but that song is forever in my head. Forever. My My God. Anyhow, so that brings an end to today's episode, and we'll do a quick round of plugs. At first, I will plug our own show, which is Behind the Hype. Next week, tune in for The Wiz. I am so excited to rewatch The Wiz.
Make sure to take a whiz before you listen to the episode.
Or do it while you're doing it, headphones. It's fine.
That's the beauty of podcasts.
Be sure to keep listening to Venture Bros. We have one final episode where we will be saying goodbye to the series as a whole until season 8 comes out, whenever the fuck that'll be. And be sure to tune into our new show, Welcome to You Are Doom, the Frisky Dingo podcast. And I am so excited to dive into Frisky Dingo. It's going to be a blast. John, what are you plugging?
Demon Days, an actual play podcast. We are still playing at the table and having a great time. And, yeah.
Cool. Chewie?
Superstore! Coming back at you for season 6 in 2020.
Woo! It is 2020.
Yeah.
So soon, like next week?
And season 5 is still going on, but just exciting that you got another season.
Yay!
Yay!
Amazing.
So that's it. We did it. 2 more weeks left. We have The Wiz, and then we have Final Cut.
Ooh.
A lot of stuff coming down the pipe.
Cutty, cut.
Guys, this is
and then
amazing.
we have it next month on... I'll tell you later. But I'm so excited for next month, too. 5 weeks next month. That means we have to cover 5 movies. Oh, my goodness. Whoever
Tell you what, guys.
Talking about?
Yeah. Tell you what, though. This has been exciting. Between Joe Dante and Dede Allen, just the movies we've been watching. My God.
Yeah. We haven't really been watching any bad ones. So,
Even the lesser ones are still
I really love that
up
I
there.
accidentally watched a remake of this movie, and I just realized it while we were talking about it.
That is kind of amazing. But yeah, no, this month has been really good so far, and we've got nothing but very interesting things coming up. Like, we have 2 very, very different films coming after this, and I'm quite excited. So thank you very much for listening. Please keep listening, and bye!
Bye!
Attica!